Welcome to Master Powercast. On this week's episode, it's going to be the good, the bad, and the makeover. And how fitting is that when you really think about that title as it pertains to our topic tonight, the mini comic of discussion, fastest draw in the universe. With the good, the bad, and the makeover, the whole idea behind this, if you're new around here, is we're going to flip through the mini comic. We're going to try, if at all applicable, I kind of stumbled on that. If there's good stuff, we're going to talk about it. Obviously, we're going to cover the bad. That's why we're here, and that's why it's under this umbrella to begin with. And then we're going to give it a makeover and see what we can come up with. So, Tyler, this one's it is certainly a mini comic that came out in the Master Universe toy line. It's got that going for it, I guess.
Yeah, and it came with the designated character. It was only made for Rio Blast. It was not packaged with anybody else. You know, which they would do that with some mini comics. Like one mini comic would be packaged with like 3 or 4 figures sometimes, but this was one of those times where this one was made for the specific character, and the cover makes you feel like, all right, we're going to have like just a big gunfight in this. And no, we don't get that at all.
Yeah, it's used for a different purpose, but let's go ahead and quickly kind of brush through this. Let's start with our credits that we have here first. Writer is Steve Grant, penciler is Mike Vosberg, inker is Greg Brooks, letterer Stan Sakai, colorist Charles Simpson, and editor Lee Nordling. So right off the bat, I'm like, Mike Vosberg, no idea. I'm like, this isn't
no idea. He's not doing stuff any favors with this mini comic.
Oh, absolutely not. So the whole basis of this, Skeletor's big scheming plan is we're going to drive the herds off of the crops and the land, so everything will be destroyed and everyone will starve. And right off the bat, that's an automatic. No, we got to throw that one there in the bad column. I don't want to see stuff like that in Master Universe. It's like, sure, this is a maniacal plan. This is a dastardly deed. This is a very terrible thing to do to people. But set this up for a story, it's like, no, we don't need anything like this.
I mean, it has it's the plot of like a shitty, once a week TV drama, like a shitty cop drama from the 70s or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're gonna destroy your food source by steering your livestock away from the crops.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, okay, is this crops that the livestock would be eating?
Well, here the herds graze. So it's like, if our plan works, the herds will be driven off the crop. Driven off, the crops will be destroyed. So it's like, yeah, we're destroying the crops, but then also these animals won't be fattening up, so when inevitably they are used for a food source, I don't know what.
That's what I'm trying to understand. Is like, well, if the animals are there,
yeah,
you're not destroying the animals and taking away food source. You're just running them off.
Yeah. So
how are the crops getting destroyed? If anything, are you going to run them through the crops so that they get stampeded?
The whole thing that we need to focus on is that He-Man is going to be too weak because he's going to be hungry.
But I'm like I will say is a good thing, because Skeletor tries to do this in the Island of Fear episode, where he is threatening the food source of Eternia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that idea, sure, and wanting to just obliterate food sources for Eternia for the sake of destruction, that's a good idea. How do you go about it and what you're going to do? There's where it's like, the germ. The idea is like, yeah, he would do this just for being an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But the plan is, it's like, but the livestock still lives, and the crops.
Yeah. If anything, you need to kill the crops and kill the animals so they got nothing. Period.
Yeah, or take all the animals, like Beastman controls the animals, sends them to the Snake Mountain, and then they use them for a food source. Just take away all the food because they're under his control.
Yeah. Absolutely. But
Cobra Khan can use his mist to breathe on the crops and kill the crops.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like his sometimes his mist is used to put people to sleep, or I don't know. It could be, I don't know. It just feels like not a good idea.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
Skeletor's saying here, there's going to be no more face-to-face battles with He-Man. From now on, I'll be more devious than that. Today, hunger takes hold in the flatlands of Eternia. Soon, all of Castle Grayskull's defenders will be too weak to withstand me.
Well, that's something like that plan could work if it works on a broader scale.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're really going to go, if you're going to like poison water sources so the animals would drink it and die, you know, or poison food sources of you know, like the actual vegetation and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Things that don't directly link you to the, or that aren't going to link, you know, Snake Mountain to all of a sudden our water sources or water holes are poisoned, our cattle are dying, but the crops are depleting. We're getting plenty of rain and sun. What's going on here? And
Yeah.
you know, no,
it's very, it's very half-baked. But several days later, two friends are taking a holiday. So we have Adam and Orko.
they're going backpacking to the desert, and
Yeah.
Again, this is trying way too hard to push the cowboy aspect, because Eternia has lots of desert, but when you see cactus, like, you could come up with something a little bit more otherworldly in terms of like plant life. Like, we are going to have, you know, some people say there are horses and various other animals that we have on Earth on Eternia and Ethereum. Yeah, but you know, I kind of feel like when you see a cactus, that seems like, could you make it look more out of proportioned and not make it look like a straight cactus?
I get what you're.
It's a small detail. That's a small little nitpick, but I'm like, yeah. We are going to see lots of desert and open wide plains with just nothing but dirt and sand.
Yeah.
Sure. But Steve Grant is really I would just love to know where they felt like, okay, we have a gunslinger, a futuristic gunslinger, a part of this mythology, so we're going to make him as stereotypical of a cowboy, and I feel like we're going to be hearing the Hey Dude theme here in a little bit.
What also came to mind is the fucking Pace Picante New York City ads that would play. If you're not familiar with that,
I know.
We'll go ahead and play the ad right now.
More paste, thick, and chunky salsa. Yeah. This ain't paste, thick, and chunky salsa. Well, woo, doggies.
Paste is made with big chunks of tomatoes, onions, and peppers.
Perfect for dipping.
By folks in San Antonio
Who know what salsa should taste like. Well, this stuff's made in New York City.
New York City.
Jake, it's time you switch brands.
Pick up a thick and chunky one. Pick up the Pace.
But yeah, once we get to this and you start to, we'll read off some of the actual dialogue that is stated here. But Adam falls through this hole. Looks like a trap of some kind. Better check it out. Orko's trying to reach down. It's like, maybe I can lift you out of here. It's like, oh no, it's no problem for me. I'll just transform into He-Man. We'll just hop out of here. Which, yeah, that sure. Yeah, makes sense. And then, I've got you now, you slimy swamp toad. Hey, He-Man, you old buckaroo. I thought I caught me a rustler. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, that's too much. Like, we have gone way too far.
Just in 2 panels, you have already, like, just killed the credibility of this character, of making him. And, of course, when I got this mini comic as a kid, I'm just looking as a mini comic, and that's it. I couldn't read it or anything. I'm just looking at the pictures, and it didn't leave an impression on me. I'll just put it that way.
Even Orko's like buckaroo, rustler. So,
what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, so He-Man and Rio Blast here are gonna exchange some tales about recent events on Eternia, and he's saying somebody's been spooking the herds hereabouts. They've been charging and stampeding every which way, and they're tearing up the crop something fierce. There you go. Charging and stampeding, so they're destroying it just by stampeding over them too. Which I kind of get that, but at the same time, not so much. Anyway, so yeah, they're tearing shit up. Villagers asked him to look at it. I guess they heard I used to be a lawman, so which sure, but also at the same time, the specifics of this in here really tie into the makeover idea, and I think the germ of the idea is probably something that you're gonna go with and want to connect it.
Actually, my idea was like I'm scrapping the whole thing.
All right, well,
and start from the ground up.
All right, well, we'll get to that, but yeah, you too, Orko. Even though you're no bigger than a tadpole, it's like, all right, He-Man, you old son of a gun. I'd be plumb tickled, partner.
I hate hearing the word "son of a gun." I think you know why, or the phrase "son of a gun" brings back bad memories.
Yeah. Here, little feller, dig right in. Like eat all this food, and as much like the Orko here.
I do like the image of Orko like dunking his head in the water, and he pulls his head back out. Like I do like that with like the eyes looking exhausted for like, oh my god, like what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
The one down below.
He makes the best barbecue, and obviously, I guess that it's too hot. He fixes a plate here. No, He-Man had a big lunch. So they have a little rest. Dawn breaks over the horizon. It's like, oh, what's that sound like? Thunder? It's like, no, got another stampede going.
And that's
on.
when you need to clip in Kevin May going stampede Earl.
Stampede Earl, get out the way, you dumb shit.
All right, I'll do that. Man, I need to watch Tremors again.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's been a minute. So now we get a segment where it's just they're having to herd this stampede. So now we get to see Rio Blast in action, which I mean, like this looks cool. I like seeing all the guns drawn at the ready, but for this purpose,
just to direct cattle.
Missed opportunity.
We get the Mega Laser is pulled out to help out with it. And it's all just to steer cattle in a different direction. That is it. No big epic, piece of weaponry that Skeleton and the Evil Warriors have brought out, and the Mega Laser and Rio Blast are going to take it down with their superior firepower. No. Yeah. No. Not the Horde showing the fleet of Horde troopers to be taken out one left and right all over the place. No.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
But we have here Cobra Khan and Beastman curses a perfect stampede ruined by some rodeo cowhand.
Yeah, because Cobra Khan would say that. God.
Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, if we can dispense He-Man and his friend, we can do away with the cattle and starve the nearby villages. So
nearby villages, not the planet, not the heroic warriors, not the royal palace. Just this one little smidget.
Yeah. But back at camp, what in tarnation caused that stampede? So then, they show themselves. We get a little battle here. He-Man using the barbecue bucket, or just the shit around the campsite to take these guys out. Not the Mega Laser. Not
even a classic punch. No, we're gonna use a bucket.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden these lizard men are also around, and it was like, go ahead and attack. And no, you don't. You get the rat-a-tat-tat.
Yeah, I forgot he does fire a barrage of bullets.
Yeah. Rips away
laser fire.
Yeah, just to rip away the rocks underneath, so they fall down, and then he's gonna tie him up because he's a cowboy, and that's what they
bulldog and champs. Yeehaw! Fuck me.
Cobra Khan's like, all right, well, I'll use my venomous mist to put you to sleep, and sorry to disappoint you. And then he also throws the barbecue
everything
there.
He-Man's all about using that damn bucket, man. He is not the flying fist, not the thunder punch, not the Mega Laser,
but it's
not sword, not shield. No, a bucket.
But that food is hot. Cobra Khan's like, we gotta get out of here.
And he picks up Beastman and carries him on his side.
Yeah, some folk just don't appreciate good cooking, I guess. And that's pretty much how this ends. It's like, hey, you want some more food? And it's like, no, we're good.
Just make sure, next time we have butter friends, make sure he doesn't go.
So, yeah, that is our brief review of the fastest draw in the universe. So, I guess we can. What are some of the good things that we have to say about this?
I mean, I like the team up of Cobra Khan and Beastman because that's reminiscent of Meteor Monsters, which it seems like such an unlikely duo. But you have the master of hairy henchman, or not hairy henchman, that's Grizzlord, sorry. The henchman that can control all animals, and then the henchman who can control snakes.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone, that tag team of mind controlling villains over wildlife, and not to mention how formidable, Beastman is one of the most ferocious of the Evil Warriors. Cobra Khan's one of the most cunning.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that team up visually looks very odd. It doesn't look like it just fits immediately, but you break it down like that, yeah, it makes perfect sense. And they make it. It's not a full tag team in Meteor Monsters, but they are the two henchmen who are dispatched by Skeletor, and they kind of semi work together. And I'm like, it's kind of an odd team up here, but I'm like, I'm going with it. It works. So I don't mind seeing that again in this. Unfortunately, they're not used to their full potential. Well, not even any potential. Their place in the story is pretty much wasted,
Mm-hmm.
on this less than half-baked idea of starving the people of Eternia by just steering some cattle in a different direction.
Yeah.
And that's it. Skeletor's like, I love my brilliant idea. And
I didn't think about this other stuff popping up. I guess also in the good column, seeing the Mega Laser. Granted, it's not used in the best possible way, so we'll also put that in the bad column. But it's nice to see it here.
I agree, because those the Jet Slate got the most presence used in the mini comics. Mega Laser and obviously Stilt Stalkers were pretty much dismissed quite quickly. I think they're used in various other little images. I think maybe in some of the magazines, things like that. But I always wanted to see more of the mini comics, because that was my main source outside of the cartoon of what I had access to in terms of media.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the Golden Books, and they were not putting any stuff in the Golden Books by that point. They pretty much had stopped making them for the most part by this point. So it just it's just seeing those visuals, like, yeah, I want to see more of that. Unfortunately, it's just not used to help sell like why you should want to go out and buy the Mega Laser. You could hear it pretend to steer cattle at home. This
is for the kid with the even temperament.
Yeah. I'm like, you're going to develop a shoulder cannon essentially, and you're not going to advertise it in the max capacity way of like encouraging a kid, like, oh my god, like I want my He-Man figure to be holding onto that. I want to be able to mow down a whole series of Horde Troopers, or take out the Evil Warriors attack on Castle Grayskull. If they dismantled the turret, He-Man comes out of the drawbridge with the Mega Laser. Like, no, we're just gonna. Here it is. And that was something I felt like they gave such a strong push to a lot of the stuff that came out that year, except those accessories. And yet it was a nice idea for, like, if you couldn't afford play sets and you couldn't afford vehicles because they were, premium items.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like those weapons / accessories were like a nice little affordable item, much like with G.I. Joe. Like, if you couldn't afford the big play sets like the Terradrome or the Flag or some of the big vehicles, you had like these smaller play sets and smaller vehicle / accessories that, anyone could afford.
Yeah.
And that's why I look at these things and like, you really should have done a better job at the time of getting these items over, like why kids should want to buy these. And
absolutely,
especially when what a push they were making in '86 with this wave. With the Snake Men, the Rock Warriors, these 3 new heroic warriors, and expanding the Horde.
Yeah. And
new tooling. We're going to capitalize on our most successful year from the previous year. We're going to go all out here. But these 3 items, just where they weren't given commercials, they're not featured in the commercials. No real push at all. And you see this, and like the visual of He-Man with this Mega Laser is a cool visual.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks awesome right there.
Yeah, it does. And it's just, even if it was just like Beastman and Cobra Khan jumping out of the way because they're fearing for their life of like this Mega Laser unloading on them.
I mean, do what Rio Blast ends up doing here and just use it to shoot these rocks down or something that they're standing on. But another positive is just Rio Blast, period. Now, you mentioned with this wave and the differing opinions that people have about these characters, much like we discussed when we were talking about the Rock Warriors. A lot of people look at Rio Blast and they're like, whatever. But it's a positive note having him in here, seeing what he's capable of, and visually he's cool. But once again, in the bad column to counterbalance that, just going too far into the cowboy shtick.
And that shouldn't even been. I mean, it's just that Stevie Grant was getting real lazy on this. It's like, okay, he looks like a cowboy, but it doesn't mean you have to write him as such. I mean, I'm sorry, did Clint Eastwood walk around saying "Tar Nation"?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Buckaroo,
and that's
the Man with No Name trilogy. No, he did not.
That's how he needs to be. He needs to be like this hybrid of Clint Eastwood and Kurt Russell and Tombstone. Kind of that's the kind of cowboy he needs to be.
And confidence of Doc Holliday.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, not going around starting shit, but if you want to question or you want to challenge this guy, you know, whip out one gun real quickly, man. I mean, just like Doc Holliday at the poker table.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, now we can be friends again. You know,
but I'm curious what you're going to have for the makeover story and starting off from scratch and building up from that. But obviously, it's a Rio Blast. It's like if you want to lean into those elements, you can have something in the ways of like Quick and the Dead type of scenario with him where yes, the gun work with the gunslinger stuff and do it where we're going to have these standoffs and these shootouts and play with that. But this just leans too far into his dialogue sounding too bumpkin. The fact that it's like, oh, I gotta tie him up and do. It's like, no, I don't want to see that type of cowboy here.
It's just like this is Rio Blast. Welcome to round around, or was it on Doug Roper Roundup? Yeah,
yeah.
It's just like no, man. Like I loved cowboys and Indians as a kid too, but I mean, I was not. I did not want to see any hero talk in a way because I'm like that just makes them lame, and I guess I don't know why they thought. I mean, this is the 80s. Westerns were not popular, at least not with children.
Absolutely not.
So I feel like a character that leans into that, you know, unless you're a kid watching a lot of Westerns with your daddy, your uncle, or your grandpa at the time, you really weren't going to take to, you know, this character that comes off as just a really bad cliche. Like,
yeah,
just not in a fun way at all. Like nothing humorous, and nor do I want to see a character like that humorous at all either. It's just like they couldn't come up with anything more clever of like, okay, this is a gunslinger. We'll just have it be as
generic
Western bullshit as, you know, as we possibly can make it. And I mean, you know, I think this is one of the most forgotten mini comics.
Absolutely.
For a reason. It's not lumped in as like with Montana and Leech. It's like, okay, this is like offensively bad, mainly just because the visuals and the story is so incoherent. This is just trying so hard to like be what they think a gunslinger would be in a kid's storyline. Like, this isn't Cowboys and Moo Mesa, which would come years later. And I feel like that's more appropriate for that show. Because they're going full on Wild West with animals. It's Ninja Turtles meets. I thought I had a point there, but Ninja Turtles meets the Wild West is what it is.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and cool visuals for that. But yeah, no. It's again, 3 great heroic wars come out in this wave, and they're all mishandled in their own mini comic. I mean, Extendo is probably the least offensive, and I can't even say it's like offensive at all. But I feel like that's another one we'll have to go back and cover, because I feel like that's still a bit of a missed opportunity, if I remember correctly, too, because that's another great mini comic. Yeah, not just because it doesn't look that good visually, but again, like making these characters kind of lame in how they're portrayed in their own story. You're not looking at this character and think, okay, why do we need to make this character a bit of a pussy? I don't understand this. This guy can make himself 8 feet tall, and we're gonna feel sorry for this guy.
Yeah.
And this guy is a cybernetic elephant, can put out fires left and right, and kick ass. I'm supposed to feel sorry for him too. It's just like they all. It's like someone in marketing just looked at these new characters like, these look like misfits. Aha! I've got it. You know,
Yeah. Is there any other positive things that we can say about this one in particular?
I mean, Cobra Khan commanding, some reptile men like that, even though they look like shit and look like they're wearing fishnet on their bodies as opposed to scales. They're very poorly
Yeah.
drawn.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and the art is very inconsistent in this one too.
It is. It's some moments were like, okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
It's
like
not great by any means.
No,
There's moments where it looks okay.
it's
others are like,
passable.
God, what the fuck happened here?
Yeah, passable at best, but definitely some. Yeah,
Yeah, and of course too, like Cobra Khan being bested by a bucket of hot barbecue.
yeah.
My God, people, can you pick a more insulting way of running off one of the most popular and most beloved characters of the mythology? I just yes, I know this is for children, but when you've seen what's come before, and that these characters in years earlier are being portrayed as menacing villains to our heroic warriors, we're gonna dumb this shit down for the babies, for these kids that are slapping cake in their mouth, buckaroo stampedes, and like they're just mindless morons.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that kind of wraps it up about the good stuff. Obviously,
the cover's not bad. It's just not polished, but I like the image of this lines of intensity with him and Rio Blast together, side by side, firing. Like this should have been called Superior Firepower. When you're trying to sell both Rio Blast and the Mega Laser, the fastest draw in the universe should have been Rio Blast staring down a couple of villains. Like Cobra Khan has a pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cobra Khan holding someone captive, like a prospector, a miner on Eternia, or
not a hot lady.
Well, I was going to say that too, but I feel like, come on, Tyler, can't you come up with something else? Because if I was having Kevin, let's have Rio Blast saving a really hot, farmer's daughter, Eternian style,
Yeah, but and we've mentioned, of course, a lot, all the problems, all the bad things here, which definitely outweigh some of the good things that we had to say. Which at this point, I kind of feel like we're just trying to say something nice.
Well, I mean, that's
more
the whole
so
point
than
of doing
anything
this
else.
as well. We're picking it because and I mean, look, when we did Search for Keldor, no, it is not a bad mini comic, but there are things that I feel like could have been done better, even though it's probably one of the best mini comics that's ever been done. It's mainly just about the whole Keldor bullshit anyway, but but when we pick these, like, it has problems, and there's always that have more problems than this one, and I think we should cover the War Machine in a future episode as well, and that way we've covered all three of the heroic warriors from this wave. We've covered Snout Spout, we got Rio Blast, we'll have to cover Extendar, because that's another character that again is just not portrayed as like the Tower of Power. That's how he's put over in the commercial. Like, why the fuck isn't he portrayed like that all the time? All these guys should have been like the tag team trio of badasses for 86. I mean, this should have been no pulled punches on getting these guys over.
But Rio Blast makes a mean barbecue. Let's go ahead then, and let's move into the makeover part of that, because that's always the enticing part of doing these anyway. It's like, let's make this better, and I want to see. Let's see what you came up with.
Well, I did this last year because you and I. This is one of our oldest topics you and I have been talking about doing for like a long time. Yeah, and it's good. I think we're almost past probably over a year at this point since you and I started doing these, and I remember trying to figure out, like, I remember being at work, like, okay, how am I gonna do this, and then I came up with the title Justice Comes to the Crimson Ridge, or Crimson Canyon, excuse me. So I thought, like, okay, I wanted to have Rio Blast already. He's come to Eternia. He's there to help out. He is a in my mind, comes from the same academy as Brave Star.
Yeah, that's
dispatched to Eternia to help out with, because it's a world filled with evil,
yeah.
crime, however you want to put it. There is just a lot of injustice on this planet, and he's sent there to kind of help, but not knowing where his place is going to be in all this, because you've got a whole legion of heroic warriors helping out, very from all parts of the planet, stuff like that. So my idea was that Mechanic and Buzz-Off are on reconnaissance and return to the royal palace, and Man-at-Arms is working on some new inventions, and Adam is there observing, and Rio Blast is kind of there just observing kind of day-to-day life, just kind of seeing how things are done in this area. And Buzz-Off and Mechanic return, and on the reconnaissance they see in the Crimson Canyon it's a mining village. It's like a large town that's secluded, that as they found out has a cordite mine that the Horde has secretly taken over.
Okay.
And the only way you can get into the canyon, it's one path you have to, or get into the town, is to go through the Crimson Canyon. It's one way in and one way out. And that the Horde are preventing anyone from leaving the town, because above the entrance or the exit, like as you're coming in, right above you is a new weapon that the Horde have created, powered by cordite, which is, if you watch the podcast, that's a very powerful element that the Widgets mine. So I thought in the Crimson Ridge or Crimson Canyon, in that mining colony, that they have come across quite a pretty heavy supply of cordite that the Horde have gotten their hands, have gotten word of, and taken over the town and prevented people from coming out. They have built something called the artillery.
Yeah.
And it's stationed above the exit, so no one can leave. Once you come in, that artillery prevents anyone from leaving.
All right. And
powered by cordite. And thanks to the genius of Modulok. So you've got, Dialamug and Modulok and Horde troopers guarding this entire town. Like they're running the show, and they're anticipating Hordak showing up, to kind of oversee, the collection of cordite soon enough. So Buzz-Off and Mechanic come back and report this, and they're trying to, okay, this isn't good. Like, not only has the Horde is taking over this town, but they're also mining a very powerful element and a weapon that is, that runs on it. Okay, we've got to figure out a way of doing this without harming anybody. And they think about, how are we just gonna go in there and just take over? And Rio Blast is just sitting in the back, just listening. And he tells them, "Wait a second here, guys. I work on protecting the law. Let me do what I do best. Go in undercover." So his idea is to go in as a prospector.
Okay.
Wearing Eternian garb to cover up his entire outfit, and just come off just like he's just I heard there's a lot of there's work out here in this town. So he gets himself a Sloto, which is one of my favorite Eternian animals, and takes his backpack that has the large cannon on the back, puts it underneath this wagon, and fills the wagon up with hay, because he expects the Horde are going to inspect the wagon,
right,
and pat him down. So he goes in with his Sloto, and just this big narrow canyon. You can't hear anything. It's like all you can hear is just wind blowing through this canyon. And comes in and is met by Horde troopers, and he's playing dumb, like, "Hey, I've heard you guys are mining cordite. I'm here to make a good living for myself. I brought my own animal and some hay to feed him. I'm just looking for work. Are you guys, can I get hired out here?" And the Horde troopers are like, "Oh, well, we can put you and your animal to work, no problem. But we want to make sure you're not carrying these things." So they're sitting there digging through the hay, and he's like, "Look, that's my Sloto's only food here. Like, you want to work, he's got to eat. Check it all you want."
Yeah.
You can, and then they pat him down. there's no guns on him. He puts his hands up. They're patting him down like there's nothing there. All right, you can go on in there. So he spends the next week or so being pushed around by the horde troopers, being, dial-a-mugs giving him shit, and just seeing how they torment the miners, the children, putting them all to work endlessly. They're not allowed to stop mining, keep digging, keep digging, keep digging. Hordak's coming in into the week. He wants to see our progress. He wants to see that, can we continue to manufacture this weapon called the artillery? And, as Rio Blast is observing all this going on through the week, he learns that this big weapon is powered by cordite and reports back to Buzzoff and them. I meant to say that too, that Mechanic and Buzzoff make sure he gets into the town. They're watching from a distance. The heroic spy in the sky and the human periscope, watching from different angles, is Rio Blast to at least let Man-at-Arms and Adam know, okay, he's in. So he's going to continue to report what's going on, which when he reports back to Man-at-Arms that the artillery is powered by cordite, okay, we need something that's going to help cause the artillery to overreact. Okay, I'll come up with the beam blaster. So give like a context of like why these weapons would be created and work them into the story for the climax.
Absolutely. I was
just going to say something.
No, I was just saying absolutely. I'm just in agreement with what you're saying. Setting wise within this though, would you tinker around with the idea, just because with it sort of being centered around Rio Blast, would you have anything where you think this mining town, obviously maybe some saloon doors, like have some of the decor there without really beating you over the head?
There would be some touches of like, okay, you want to honor like kind of a Western style, but you're not going to beat the reader over the head with like, look at this,
cowboy shit
all over the place. No, you want Rio Blast like taking the bullshit from Dial-a-Mug, being pushed around and doing everything he can to hold back from attacking horde troopers, from smacking kids around, and being very hard on the women and pushing the elderly to work to the point where they're going to keel over.
Yeah,
because he can't break his cover. He's got to be there to keep them reporting until Man-at-Arms can get the beam blaster ready to go. And when you get to the end of the week, when Horak shows up, to kind of oversee everything, and that's when he reports back like, look, He-Man, if you don't get here soon, I'm going to unleash hell on this town, because these people have gone through enough. God knows I've been through enough. I've seen enough. I did not come to this planet to watch people being, tortured and beaten to death and just have, injustice run all over this town. Like, I'm you give me the green light, I'm going to take them all out. But because of that, like, people they don't want anyone they don't want Modulok or Dalamar or the horde troopers to start, unloading on this town and just destroy everything. So you got to have to play it down beat. So as you're heading into the last day, I'm having Rio Blast stay up through the night, and he's starting to dismantle a horde trooper here, another one, like quickly, like quick shots, and just dismantling that one, taking the remains of it and getting rid of it, just constantly dismantling all the horde troopers he can throughout the night, and all it's leaving is Dial-a-Mug, Modulok, and like trying to figure out what the hell. And then Hordak shows up. He sees all the horde troopers have been dismantled. What the hell's going on here? And then no one can answer, because as far as they're concerned, the whole village has been subdued. There's no one here to challenge or question us.
Yeah.
And that's when Rio Blast like steps up and pretty much like puts the challenge on Dial-a-Mug. Modulok, being the scientist that he is, like, and the Hordak, just kind of like dismissing of like, who is this guy? And then he reveals. Is
that when you have like that moment, like he tears it off, and then you see like the full garb, and
I
then,
think
like,
one of the big snapping moments too I was going to have too, it was that his slow toe gets really mistreated by one of the Dial-a-Mug and one of the horde troopers, and that's kind of one of the big like snap moments. That, and again, seeing a particular child being mistreated, a beautiful girl, young girl is pushed to a very, abusive level. Just these things in that last day, it's just like, all right, that does it. And yeah, he'll pull the cloak, the cloak off of him, and they just see this guy,
Mm-hmm.
And then the handguns come out.
Yeah.
The knees pop out.
Yeah.
The chest pops open, and the backpack that he made sure he put on before the big reveal, like, unloads over, and he just starts unloading on Dial-A-Mug, Modulak, and Hordak, and they go running for cover.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make it up to artillery, and then that's when Rear Blast is like, let him know, like, now, come on in. Buzz off, Mechaneck and He-Man come charging in, and then you got this big battle with the troopers that came in with Hordak.
Yeah.
And you got this big fight.
Yeah, you get like that big segment where it's like shootout at the OK Corral.
Yeah, you set up like when he has a standoff with Hordak, Modulak, and Dial-A-Mug, he's standing very, Clint Eastwood like,
have
staring
like
them down.
Yeah, sun beaming down, a little bit of sweat on the brow, kind of thing. Yeah,
it's just
like
just calling him out on.
Having the homage there. It's like, yeah, all right, yes, he is this cowboy, but we're not going to do it with the dialogue part to make you think that he's just a country bumpkin dumbass.
No.
We got to honor it and make it more like spaghetti western.
Yeah, make him like, like if he was a law officer from an academy that trains, marshals.
Yeah.
Then he needs to be as such and knows undercover work. And how observe the situation, like when do you attack, and realizing like, like I'm a lawman, like I can't just sit here and let these people be, abused and treated so poorly. Like, this is against my law. This is against everything I stand for. I don't give a shit who these people are. Yeah. I don't care if they run an empire on another planet. I don't give a fuck. And just having him like scare the fuck out of these three guys, and then the horde troopers that come out of Hordak's ship. And then that's when Hordak makes a run for the artillery, because it's like, man, I'm not going to be embarrassed, and just plans to take out this new hero and He-Man. And that's when they charge up to, Hordak on the beam blaster above the entrance or exit to the canyon, and He-Man fires the beam blaster, and it just blows the fuck out of the artillery, because the beam accelerates the Hordak to this unstable level. Which I pulled that reference from the episode The Gambler, from season 2. It's a shitty episode, but I was like, the idea that Hordak could be unstable, like certain types. I'm like, that's something you could play around with, and that the beam blaster would accelerate the I'm not a science guy. Fuck. But I just feel like it would cause it to become unstable inside the artillery, which would cause it to blow up, which is what the beam blaster does with the artillery. Yeah. So I just figured that would be a great way of working in the gimmick of those two weapons there, and that Hordak was not going to be undone by this new guy in He-Man. Whatever it is you got, this is our ultimate weapon at the moment, and it's just been dismantled so abruptly right now. That this new guy has come in and taken out all his troops, scared off Dial-A-Mug and Modulak, and He-Man with his new weapon, thanks to Rio Blast, letting him know what's going on here. And Buzz Off and Mechaneck's reconnaissance has been undone by, a gunman and the heroic spy in the sky and the human periscope. And when it's all said and done, the town thanked Rio Blast in particular, and they ask him to be their marshal at the end of it. And so he finds himself a permanent home, and he has allied himself still officially with the Heroic Warriors, but his home will be in the Crimson Canyon.
All right.
Where he will oversee this town and ensure that the Horde, Evil Warriors, the Snake Men, or anyone else decides to come in here and take away whatever they want from this town will not be done on his watch.
Yeah, and then
new sheriff in town.
Then you could spin that off as this Chronicles of Crimson Canyon.
Yeah.
Make it its own thing where it's like he's dealing, and it doesn't even have to be like the Horde or Evil Wars. It could be standalone little stories that can pertain to
villains. Go ahead.
No, I was just that's your way to that angle of just making it the Western-esque kind of thing if you really wanted to take it that route. So
yeah.
there's ways to do it like respectfully where you look at it and think that's badass as opposed to, as I mentioned before, like a Pace Picante commercial, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Working in familiar elements from other lines of storytelling, from westerns to other fantasy stories, or even a great cop drama. You can take the idea and work it into a melting pot, the greatest melting pot that is Masters of the Universe, because it's an amalgam of everything, science fiction and fantasy, and you can find some ways, as long as you do it tastefully, it could be done. I mean, you could work in so many ideas and story tropes into He-Man, because it's a wide palette of heroes and villains who come from different backgrounds and things like that. Same thing with like G.I. Joe. Characters come from all over the place.
Absolutely.
Have so many adventures with that, because it's a melting pot of great characters and culture and things like that, and apply the storytelling devices used in comic books and movies and novels. Like, you can put that in He-Man and it worked just as well, as long as you treat it with respect and the characters with respect, and you're trying to tell the story that's not like winking at the audience like, yeah, this is dog shit, we know. No, get the fuck out of here. Go write a dick on a bathroom wall. That's where you're.
But it would be a good way to just, Brave Star shows up.
Yes.
They were buddies in the academy and came through the ranks together, and now Brave Star shows up just to see how things are going here, because he's heard all these rumblings of what he did and what he accomplished in such a short amount of time in a new place. It's like, oh, let me go. You could just
the Marshals come from that academy. They clean up the town. Just like they needed an army. They got one man. He was enough. That's the tagline to sell Brave Star on the movie poster.
Yeah.
One guy shows up and one lawman comes to return. You're like, you got He-Man who's helping control the planet and keeping evil subdued, but He-Man can't be everywhere.
So you got to build up these other characters, make them strong, and you can just place them in different parts of the planet.
Absolutely, and give Rio Blast like a small little group of deputies, because he will have to leave the town to go help out on various other missions with his buddies Snout Spout and Extendar and He-Man, and go on various other missions and things like that. But that would be his home. So we had to kind of like with expanding the Rock Warriors, like give him a couple of other, quick draw guys, or guys that are up and coming in terms of like being Eternian lawmen.
Yeah. Yeah, because you definitely have to separate it from its Brave Star counterpart, and like
we're not we I could see people in that town like looking up to him and wondering like, can I join you? Can you train me? To be like you, and just be good with the various weapons, scatter rays and various other weapons that they have on Eternia, and to help kind of control law and order on the.
You could even have stuff where it's like Man at Arms comes into town. It's like, hey, I got some new weapons I want you to test out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah.
See? It ain't that complicated, you motherfuckers. But everyone's just come in and just, cook up some turds and just dump them right out there on the page.
So, hey man, some hot barbecue, burn the mouths of the villains, Buckaroo, Rustler, all that shit.
Yeah, I'm sure Rob Day was like, this is genius. I wish I'd come up with this shit.
So that was the Makeover, a portion of it. Tyler, of course, well done as always. And I kind of like the idea though, just having these the chronicles of it, and it just I think about the what is it, the Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. with Bruce Campbell.
Oh yeah,
thing. Like obviously not make it like that tonally that way. I would kind of make it more of a serious thing, but yeah, there's just a lot to play around with there and a lot of shit to draw from. Because I mean, even though westerns weren't popular at that point, and I kind of think as a whole westerns haven't really been popular since the
50s and
50s, 60s.
Yeah.
People still love it though. Even if it's not popular, people can still gravitate towards that genre. I certainly ebb and flow from it all the time, where I'm like, I get in the mood of I want to watch a Clint Eastwood Western, or I I want to go watch original Django. Let's see these Italian westerns that I kind of had that brief period of popularity in the 70s and in the 60s. So yeah, there's a lot to play around with that. It's
absolutely, and just taking his brand of justice and helping carry that to other towns, and try to expand like law and order in these other villages that are outside the protection of the royal palace. Other villages,
and you could change each of those with how they look. Some of these other towns could have way more of a futuristic vibe to them. And
then others would look simple like small fishing villages,
mm-hmm.
where they're very simplistic, but they need law and order because King Randor can't be dispatching Mossman and Cyclone all over the place. I mean, to everything I think you need to have, because I like to think of the heroic warriors as like they are the top tier. Mm-hmm. So other places need law and order to kind of keep things subdued as best they can on a lower level, and then you bring in the heroic warriors for like the really heavy duty shit, the life threatening shit, the world is going to end kind of stuff, mm-hmm. that kind of thing. And of course they show up from time to time, but I think Rio Blast could be the beginning of bringing law and order to all these small towns. And they're starting to follow him as the guideline of like what it really means to like keep people safe and protect all these villages, that He-Man can't just show up on Battle Cat and just save the day all the time. The Sorceress is calling, the Skeletor's threatening this, King Hiss is going to do that, Hordak's got this. He-Man's being pulled to save the planet.
Yeah.
So use Rio Blast as a means of like training young recruits to become marshals in all these various towns, and he is the top tier of all of that. Make him, the top dog on the planet. And like not he's like the most legendary gunslinger on the planet, but he's the guy that brought police officers to mm-hmm. the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I stated before, it's like, oh, here's Brave Star. You could even go really outside the box. It's like, oh, Rio Blast ends up somewhere. Oh, here's Ninjor. Like
why I can totally see like Ninjor coming in and Rio Blast is pissed off because he's fighting a fucking ninja, and you got a stealth assassin, mm-hmm. with Rio Blast using his his headgear to kind of observe, probably looking around. I imagine his head, like the visor that comes down gives him like intense accuracy. I mean, so Ninjor, I like to paint him as like one of the few guys he cannot take
and
down.
Then it's like, I can't get him. Maybe I should call up my old friend Clamp Champ, because his senses are in tune enough that I think he might be able to help me out here. It's just that there's so much that you can do. We talk about this all the time. Potential. There's just so much of it here. And I'm glad that we're able to just kind of sit here and spitball stuff. And you have all these stories that you come up with, and I'm just like tacking some things on here or there. I'm like, oh, well, what about this in the future? It's like, oh, you could do this, and this. That's
you get it. You get it.
That's the beauty of it. It's just sitting here and just going off the cuff and riffing about it and thinking about all these various stories that we could tell, and that you can just take these ideas and turn them into mini comic covers, and Kevin will always have his bills paid.
Yeah, and he's working on one right now. It's almost done, and I've already got, I don't know how many ideas, but I got it narrowed down to like 2.
Yeah,
so actually no 3, because I can't. I really want to do this one. Like, you know what? I just watched Clash of the Titans the other day. I kind of want to do this instead.
Yeah, you were mentioning that watching Clash of the Titans, you were thinking about watching some more Harryhausen to kind of inspire you for some other ideas, and you got probably 12 to 15 in the tank. So yeah, that's got to be tough to just narrow it down.
I got a whole list on my phone of like, I have one I want to do for Strong Arm, like a cover that just gets him over as an evil warrior. I even have the title for him and everything. I got one for Orko, like getting Orko. Orko never had his own mini comic. I wanted to get him over as a dominant like sorcerer, and sell that like he's going to kick some serious ass in this mini. And I had who's going to be on everything. I got one for a Frost and He-Man team up. I wanted to use one for just Clamp Champ. I wanted to use one for when He-Man meets Sword and Blade for the first time. You know, I just keep coming up with all these ones where either characters were not given a great introduction or one at all, or they were given not the best selling point for this character here, and I just like it just keeps coming up more and more. My only problem is I need more money. You know, and I want Kevin like, here's another one. Here's another. No, fuck those other people. Do this one. You know, I really wish I could hire just because I could just keep pumping out more stuff for us on this channel, man.
Yeah, I know. And not only that, but as we stated before, hopefully it's a thing that we can like turn these into prints and put them on shirts and get them out to all of you. So you can hang them on your walls and just from the cover alone, create your own stories. I mean, that gosh. So much
just wasted potential when you see these fuck ups who are in charge of the movie and the current toy line, and they just keep pumping out all this.
I don't want to get you back on that track. I
don't want to talk about that. So I'm just saying, like, it just breaks my heart that this stuff could be done so easily, and yet they just want to hire constant incompetence because they don't give a fuck about telling good stories. It's a paycheck. I'm sure it's a job, just like you and I have our jobs. People listen to this, they have their own jobs too. It's a job. Working on this brand. If your heart's in, okay, I guess it's not a crime, but you know what? I feel like why wouldn't you want to put people who really care about the heroes and villains of this property and honor the stories that came before and not feel like we got to sit and pretend they never happened and just continue to expand upon these great stories we got in Filmation, we got in the mini comics, we got in Golden Books. Use that character, use that idea, use that story, expand on that, give a prequel to it, make it bigger.
Tweak some things, change some things.
And right the wrongs that were done that, like, you know, like we do here tonight. Yeah. You know, but at least God bless you, man. We have this outlet to do this. Yeah. Because, you know, nothing, you know, outside of the few people that, you know, that are totally, this is, you know, where it's at here. You know, it's about as good as it's going to get. And you know what? There's no one around to tell us, no, you need to fuck it up more here. And no. I kind of like my shitty idea better than your good idea. Can you go back to that? Because I really, because my 5-year-old Tucker, he really likes my shitty idea. Can you put that in there so I can honor my boy? Fuck your boy and fuck you too.
Let's go ahead and take a commercial break. I think it's about that time that we move on from that, get a little bit of the feedback that we have received, and probably talk about a little bit of some movies and some stuff that I got in the mail. So let's go ahead and do that now. We'll be back right after this.
Stay tuned.
RoboCop, part man, part robot, all cop. The ultimate in law enforcement. RoboCop and the Ultra Police, the only cops with rapid repeat cap firing.
He's unstoppable.
Battling the worst criminals, Headhunter and Nitro. The Ultra Police, protected by Robo Armor, bring RoboCop even more firepower. In the fight for justice, nothing can stop RoboCop. RoboCop and the Ultra Police, each sold separately with RoboCaps.
These steel-jawed beasts have a hunger for destruction. Can they be stopped by the ultimate galactic hunter? Predator! The battle is on. Aliens versus Predator, the hunter against the beast. An alien killer crab attacks, but the Predator Crag Tusk fires shoulder-mount missiles, and Predator Scavenge attacks with a double-barreled bola, each sold separately. Will the Predator win the battle against the evil aliens? Aliens versus Predator! Now get a special 2-pack with an exclusive Dark Horse comic.
The good old days of good old monster movies are back. Tremors.
It was funny. It's humongous. Slimy. Full of goo.
Scary. Yeah, we'll take your word for it.
The scariest monster movie since Aliens, says sneak previews.
Bloodthirsty, that creature.
Action-packed. It's a wild film.
And Time magazine raves, Tremors is bound to become a classic. Yeah! Tremors, rated PG-13. Starts tomorrow at theaters everywhere.
And we're back. Tyler, the feedback that we got, very minimal, but we did have a couple things that I wanted to read off here. This comes from our Filmation episode review, Evil Lens Plot. Starting off first with Gray Skull Cannon, which I guess they're a little behind on the times here, but Hey guys, on a t-shirt site called TeePublic, I found an old shirt of y'all, a Fans of Power, and I bought it. So now I have a Fans of Power t-shirt. And I was like, hey, that's awesome. And I'm glad that those designs are still up because I figured at this point maybe they were going to be long gone. So I'm glad that you were able to snag one of those.
Hey, you're celebrating the history of the show, so
Yeah.
I think it's great you found it, or that there was actually still something up that you could get. So if you're letting us know, to me, that's just your way of celebrating the history of this podcast. So that's wonderful, dude.
Well, definitely, I need to start working. I need to start working on getting some Master Powercast.
We have already talked to you. We have a new logo in mind that we're gonna get done here, probably hopefully in the next few months, that Kevin has agreed to do, and we want to make the logo and the new image that we have in mind that Kevin's going to do, make it available to put on a t-shirt or prints, and have some little things to offer our listeners. We're not going to go super crazy, but want to have some fun things to offer people.
Absolutely. This next one comes from a Drawing by Hand. Gives Evil Lynn's plot a 10 out of 10. Says very underrated episode, as Tyler mentioned way back. And then made mention, speaking of Fans of Power, I remember the Fans of Power intro with Skeletor with the Cordite. So glad you're going to check out some Mask for me. And then season 2 has a couple good episodes. Demolition Due to Death, For One Shining Moment, Battle of Baja. Looking forward to your review on Cynthia Rothrock. I've watched a few movies in The Line of Duty and Lady Dragon. Another recommended film, Best of the Best 2. Great martial arts film as well. And I made mention, it's like, I remember watching the first Best of the Best.
I only saw the second one.
Really? So the first one my dad rented and we watched it and enjoyed it for what it was. But I've never watched the second one. So you think that's something I might like? Probably.
I only saw it the one time, and it didn't leave an impression. I couldn't tell you anything about it other than I remember the villain, Eric Roberts, and I think Wayne Newton is in the movies, like the guy running the fights or something like that, I think. But I didn't know the context. I had never saw the first one, and I don't really remember anything else about it. This was during the craze of like Van Damme. I'm like, okay, this is another like tournament movie or something like that. I'm like, and it did leave an impression on me. If I watch that, maybe I think it's great. I don't know, but I hadn't even seen the first Best of the Best either.
Yeah, that might be something I just revisit and just see what I feel about them today, because I watched that first one. When did that come out? 93?
Yeah, very early 90s. And I remember sitting in the video store all the time and looking at it and just thinking it was like some straight to video bullshit. And at least that was my impression of it.
Let's see, Best of the Best. Nope. I thought I was typing that out, but apparently not. Best of the Best is 1989. Okay.
Yeah, before you, I started to say, I think it was actually in 89 when it came out in theaters.
No, that's all right. So then I would have watched that then in 1990.
Yeah.
Or 91, depending on when the tape came out. So yeah, long overdue to watch that. And then here's a throwback. Toon Yuka on the NYP episode Spotlight, The Mystery of Anwat Gar, that very glitchy live episode that we had that kind of pushed us more in that direction of like, let's just start recording these things. But went on to say, Nathan needs to pull out a certain unofficial cartoon guide for these with a wink. Like at 1 minute 24 seconds mention of Faker, yes, they alluded to it intentionally because he would play a role in the latter half of season 2, for example, as the writers have told us. So a little insight there. Of course, he's always he's the big NYP guy.
So that he is. Yeah.
Which
he's big on that.
It's nice. That's a nice thing to have someone that's you got James with Filmation, you got him over here with NYP, so it's a nice all-encompassing.
Yeah, when you got guys who are really invested in one particular outlet of the mythology, like it's nice to have that Rolodex of enthusiasts.
Yeah, and get all that trivia, because this is one of those properties that you get that with. There's a lot of cartoons out there that aren't so lucky.
No,
in that regard. I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I watched this week, but there was a movie that you started today that you have a little bit you need to finish that you thought was boring as shit as a kid, but watching it today, you're like, this is pretty awesome. What movie was that, Tyler?
It was Dragon Slayer from 1981, and I remember as a kid thinking like, it's Janusz as a hero. I'm like, I don't know if I buy this, and then like, where's the dragon? Can't barely see the dragon, and that was my mindset as a child. Like, this is like early 90s on TBS, and just not digging what I'm seeing here. I'm wanting to see, I guess, something more, in my mind, grander. And over the years, as I got older, I heard it had a big fan following. It was a very popular film on VHS, and the early days of the sword and sorcery films that I don't think none of them made like a fuck ton of money. I mean, Conan the Barbarian did all right. It wasn't like a tremendous mega hit, but it did quite well. And I think a lot of the sword and sorcery movies, like they say it was oversaturated, but I don't think none of them ever did that great. Even Willow, which was like the last like big, studio fantasy film, it made money. It wasn't a box office super flop or anything like that. But I think it sounds like most of the fantasy films did better on home video than they did in the theaters. But apparently the movie has a big fan following, and I think there's references were pulled from that movie in the He-Man Filmation series.
Interesting.
And I'm waiting to get to certain parts because if I remember a bit of trivia from the episode Song of Solace, the Lake of Fire, I think is a reference to that movie, and I haven't gotten to that part yet. I think this is something I read many, many years ago, and I remember just when I'm a nuts for like behind the scenes trivia on movies and cartoons and stuff like that, and that I was like, okay, well that's that boring dragon movie I didn't like as a kid, and like it always stuck with me though.
Yeah,
that these guys would take references from Conan and Ray Harryhausen movies and other fantasy films and work them into the He-Man mythology. I'm like, I kind of like if they do that kind of stuff with He-Man, like I feel like I'm on the right track with my storytelling of like take references from other movies and stories and things like that and work them into He-Man and She-Ra, and like, yeah, it's still applicable. It's not like, oh, you just copy. Like, no, I'm taking that idea and working in here. Yes, it's the same concepts, but I'm like, I'm just, everyone borrows from everything. Star Wars borrowed from Flash Gordon, and there's no harm in like borrowing and taking something that worked in a previous and working into something current. You can always, just like we did with our story on Rio Blast. You can borrow elements from Clint Eastwood westerns and Tombstone and Quick and the Dead and apply it to a story with Rio Blast, and not say like, oh, you're just copying. No, I'm honoring and homaging a movie I really, really love and the property I love the most. So it's a love letter to both. So fuck you.
And if you end up enjoying the movie, which as of this recording, it's free to watch on YouTube. Yeah. So if you want to go check that out, do that. I probably need to watch it. I feel like I have it on DVD that I bought at a pawn shop, and I may have watched it years ago, but I remember absolutely nothing about it. So a revisit, or maybe it'll be.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I finish it up tomorrow. Like, hey, I think you need to give this movie a shot when you get some free time, or
and then if I like it, buy the 4K like you're gonna do and add it to
well, I'll only do it if I finish watching. I'm like, okay, because as I'm watching, I'm like, once you get really, like I said, they start unraveling, and it's in the trailer, so I'm not gonna spoil anything for you, but turns out it's a kingdom. They have a lottery to sacrifice young virgin women to the dragon to keep the dragon at bay. So they have a lottery and draw a name out every so often. They all have to congregate, and the king has a name pulled. Like, okay, this woman will be sacrificed to the dragon, and there's the argument of like, is everyone like who is a young female, are they actually in the lottery? And like there's two characters who've been kind of, one is avoided deliberately the lottery, and the other one has avoided it unintentionally. And when you see that fold out, like that's some interesting storytelling of like, it's not just it's not about, like one of them feels kind of dishonored, like why wasn't I a part of this? Like, yeah, it's horrible. You're going to sacrifice this young woman who's done nothing to this beast to keep it at bay from attacking and destroying the kingdom. And she sees it as more like as an honor, like I've been dishonored as a member of this community, that I actually wasn't really a part of this. And others are like, this other girl is. Oh, like I said, it's just very, very, it's fun storytelling.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, this is making this whole idea of people being made to be a part of this open sacrifice that anyone can be sacrificed as long as you're a young female.
Yeah.
Who's never, had your shit packed.
It gets me. It gets me just thinking about, is it triggering? Like, yeah, I do remember watching that. I really,
you may once you start,
Yeah, maybe, but I don't seem to recall checking it out. Maybe I'm thinking of the.
Ever thinking of Dragonheart Dennis Quaid? That movie fucking sucked.
No, I never wanted to watch that. I'm thinking it. Maybe I'm confusing it with what is it? The Serpent and the. I can't remember the name of
Serpent in the Rainbow.
No. Is that the?
That's the Bill Pullman movie about voodoo.
Isn't that like directed. Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that like a shitty Wes Craven movie?
Yeah. You just said the serpent, and I'm like, oh, it's Serpent in the Rainbow. Like I know that's not a dragon. But
oh wait, I'm not going to try. I'm thinking of a different movie and not this one. But since it's free on YouTube, I'll try to sit down and
it's a Paramount Walt Disney collaboration too.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
And this is before all the companies started buying up each other.
Yeah, and Disney was not afraid to make darker stuff aimed at youngsters, and like, okay, yeah, it's dark. It's not supposed to be light and fluffy and all bubblegum for kids. Mm-hmm. Kids need to experience fear and a little bit of creepiness, and God, I wasn't expecting that kind of horrific action to take place towards this character or her or whatever. Like, no, people do die. They burn alive.
Yeah. Yeah, Disney took more chances.
Back when, and they had balls back then.
Stuff that I watched this week. I'm not going to go over everything, but I remember this was a movie that this is prior to Netflix having a streaming app. This was still the mail.
Oh yeah,
the mail-in service where it's you click it, they send you the discs. So I watched Richard Linklater's Slacker because years ago I got the disc in the mail and I put it in and started watching it, and I wasn't vibing with it. I think I made it like 20-25 minutes in, and I turned it off. It's like, not feeling this. Put it in the mail, send it out, get the next thing in my queue. So I checked that out on Criterion Channel. And it's okay. It's for me, definitely one of the weaker Linklater movies. And I enjoy a good portion of his stuff because depending on the scenario that they're in, a lot of it's like not much is happening, but it's just the dialogue feels really real to me. And I'm like, I'm watching people have a conversation here, and it's kind of goes beyond it being a movie to me. So that was just okay. I watched a movie, Quiden, which is it's an anthology movie. It's a long one, and it's not creepy. It's not scary. This was made in 1964, so obviously none of it. But visually, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's I can appreciate it in all of its merits, but a lot of it is just tales from Japanese folk stories. And pretty much all of them are just ghost stories, all four of them. So I enjoyed that quite a bit for what it was, just taking it in. The movie making process and how it was in that time period. I can watch shit like that and just get immersed in it and appreciate the sets and what they're trying to do with the limited technology that they have at the time. So enjoyed that quite a bit. We'll talk about this more when we sit down with Tom. I watched Invasion USA. And
Fuck yeah.
This, I checked my letterbox. So the last time that I watched Invasion USA, May 2015.
You watched it one time over here with me one time also.
In full? Or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
pieces of it?
No.
See, I don't remember that. Anyway, it was obviously, I don't want to talk about it too much. We got to save that conversation.
Well, give me a brief, because I can't wait until then. Just give me a brief, like, did you hate it? Did you love it? You're like, eh.
No, I obviously I enjoyed it just as much as I had prior, and Richard Lynch is such a fucking bastard in it.
Oh, he's a great villain in that. Is Ross?
Well, the thing too that I haven't done much about,
and that's another Christmas movie.
That it is. The trivia to it. So I guess a lot of stuff was cut from it. They had stuff that kind of set up more of the characters that you see and reasonings behind things, but they just cut all that shit out. And I'm like, why? That would have been nice to have that stuff there.
I agree, and it's, I mean, even though you're not given, it's just, I mean, not that you really have to have this intense backstory with Matt Hunter and Rostov, that they have a history together, and they don't meet until the very end of the movie.
Yeah,
but still, it would have been nice to have seen a lot more. In terms of character development,
Absolutely. Well, it's like the reporter. Like there's more to her to flesh out that apparently got cut as well. I'm like, why?
Which I found her part kind of like borderline obnoxious, because she's very one note. Like I get the whole, like, I'm a reporter, I got to get my story cliche, but sometimes I just feel like she's written to be like not likable in at all. Like there's just nothing redeeming about her character. Like I know she's supposed to be kind of not a love interest, but someone who, you almost kind of feel like
she didn't even need to be there. She didn't need to be there.
She doesn't serve her purpose in the story other than a really bad comic relief, because she's screaming and fussing at the situation that Matt Hunter's dispatching at the moment. And I'm like, you really don't need this character. She's not helping the story along anywhere. She's just loud and obnoxious. I mean, she's pretty, sure, but she's not. I'm like, when she shows, like, why is she here?
Yeah. Fun stunt work in it, though.
Oh God, yeah. And great action sequences, man. Like the shootout in the mall. It starts off with the bomb hits, and then Rostov's men take, and then Matt shows up, and then there's this big chase to get this pretty girl from the guy in the speedo.
Yeah, from the side of the vehicle. But
that's a fun chase, and I wish we got more of Matt Hunter going through and interrogating people. Like I love when he goes to the strip bar. It's like, hey, asshole, you got business, you take care of it. And he just grabs a hold of the guy's hand and just breaks the beer glass. Like, it's okay. I think I get it now. It's just great Chuck Norris moments like that. And then obviously when he interrogates what's his name, puts the knife in his hand. That's one of the. Even as a kid, it's one of my most favorite moments in the movie.
Well, I don't want to talk about it. We got to talk about it with Tom.
We'll save it for our big Chuck Norris extravaganza we got coming up.
Yeah, so the reason I watched it is, one, I knew I wanted a refresh for when we were going to discuss with Tom, and I'm going to probably do that with a couple more of them. Probably more of his better stuff, but obviously, like in weeks past,
I hope you revisit Missing in Action too.
Yeah, that was kind of the plan, was to revisit that one, because I think that one out of the three is the one more than likely I would revisit anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. I watched also on the Criterion Channel, because I have the box set of them, and I've actually watched a couple of them years ago when I got the set, but with it being on there and they're shorter movies. And let's start this out. So I started with the first, The Tale of Zatoichi, the Blind Swordsman, which I don't know. I'm a sucker for those 60s samurai films. So some could find them a bit boring and plodding along at times, but I just, no matter what it is, there's something about them. And then finally, I bought this on Blu-ray when it came out, specifically because I liked Bone Tomahawk so much that when Brawl and Cell Block 99 came out on Blu-ray, I blind bought it, and it sat on the shelf and collected dust. And then I saw it was on Hulu, and I'm like, I just need to fucking sit down and watch this movie. Text you about it. Absolutely loved it. Is it as great as Bone Tomahawk? I don't think so, but it's great in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Vaughn stars in it. And I'm not a Vince Vaughn guy at all.
Yeah,
I think
I don't like him.
His comedies are terrible, but when he's put in decent to great serious roles, I like him.
Psycho.
Yeah. I think back, even though the season sucked, him and Colin Farrell in True Detective season 2, they had great performances. It's just everything else around them just wasn't that great. But in this, he's fantastic. And I was telling you, it's like an exploitation movie taken seriously. So it just keeps getting crazier and more violent and just nasty in an exploitive way. But I bought into it, and the way that it ends, just like Jesus Christ. And I told you, Don Johnson's in it. He plays the warden of this particular prison. I don't want to spoil anything in case anyone wants to go and check it out. But the reason that he's in prison plays into it, like a bigger story that's going on. It's just the way the shit breaks down. I love the way that S. Greg Zoller. Maybe I'm mispronouncing that. I'll look up the proper pronunciation, but just the way that he directs, like you think Bone Tomahawk and you think about the dialogue and that, just the way that he writes characters is very, very fascinating. So he has a third movie that came out in 2019, Dragged Across Concrete, that I just blind bought on Blu-ray because I think I could watch it with ads on some app, and I'm like, I'm not doing that because this movie's like 2.5 hours long. I don't want to make that any longer.
Yeah,
it needs to be. So I bought that on Blu-ray, and it'll be here at some point this week. I'm gonna sit down and check that out because I just really like this guy's work, the way that he writes, the way that he directs, the way that he sets up scenery, the way that his stories go. I'm all in on this guy. I'm glad you got around to watching Bone Tomahawk.
Oh yeah, it fucking rocked. I mean,
yeah,
my brother both, and one of my buddies at work all like swore by that movie. I'm like, well, you know what? I probably should really check this. And my brother told me about this movie years ago. Too.
Yeah, I heard rumblings about it,
Mm.
and then when it got its Blu-ray release date, I bought it day one and sat down and watched it. I was like, what a fantastic fucking movie.
Yeah, especially the climax. Holy shit.
Yeah. And I don't want to spoil that for anyone either that hasn't watched it. And then finally, even though they've taken pretty much all the stuff off of the Peacock streaming service, occasionally these WWE original documentaries will pop up, and they had one, The Heartbreak Kid Becoming Shawn Michaels. So it basically bounces back and forth between his time in the ring and him getting started and where he's at in present day, being like the lead guy of NXT since Triple H moved up to the main roster once Vince kind of left and came back and left again. And these are like perfect introductory things. Like if I want to show Emily who Shawn Michaels is, I'll put this on. But as I'm watching, I'm like, well, I already know that. I already know this too. The only fun stuff was just seeing him with his grown kids, because I guess he got them jobs within the company. I'm like, you fucking Nepo babies. But just how they talk about him, and then just some of the stuff too where he talks about like his drug habits and everything. But I'm like, yeah, this is all shit I already knew. So it's very, in my mind, generic. But I think for someone that's wanting to get into wrestling and learn the history about specific people, I would recommend you put that on. It's a good way to learn about them, and it's like an hour and 40 some minutes, so it's not.
Well, it's longer than most of the documentaries. I feel like most of them were just about an hour.
Yeah,
maybe a little over.
Yeah. So that's all I checked out, and now that you were talking about Dragon Slayer, I'm like, well, that's something I might put on. As we were recording this, looking at the results of WrestleMania Night 1, and it seemed pretty shitty. So feel bad for anyone that spent the money on the ESPN Unlimited to purchase that event.
Because fuck ESPN.
Yeah. Indeed. Speaking of ESPN and sports, Tyler's team not in the playoffs. My team, not
Thankfully,
in the
they're not in
playoffs.
the playoffs. 'Cause they're not good enough to put up a fight in the first round. It wouldn't matter who they're playing. So both of my boys can bounce back with a decent draft pick and make some legitimate changes in the offseason to the roster and come back and not be below mediocre.
Yeah. And we'll see how San Jose fares next year. Let's see who they drop, who they pick up, and see if they continue to improve. I like seeing they almost had a 40-win season. You go from that, being above 500, almost making the playoffs, being in contention from that after being just absolute dog shit for the last few years, being like the worst team in the fucking league. It was a hell of a season. It was fun to watch. They were a fun team to watch, and I can't wait to watch them going forward. I think out of the 82 games, the only 2 that I didn't watch were when they played the Capitals, because of course our favorite thing, blackouts. We gotta love the blackout games.
Yeah, you can't watch any team that plays a team in the DC area. You got to watch it on actual cable. You can't stream it.
Yeah, just
stupid.
Yeah, so I'll watch this. Probably highlights of Stanley Cup playoffs. Maybe I'll follow Carolina and see if they can make a decent run this year after coming close the past couple of years. Then I'm
You're
like,
probably really happy the Panthers didn't even make the playoffs this year.
Oh yeah, dude, fucking love that. I'm glad they that was fantastic. Fuck Florida. But the bad thing is somehow now they're going to get like a high draft pick, and I'm like, why? No. But you know, with trades and everything, that's how it goes. Having all that picks, but we're not going to bore you guys with sports talk. Just want to put that out there that our teams are not in any contention to win anything this year. But let's go ahead. Let's wrap this episode up. Hope everyone enjoyed us discussing the fastest draw in the universe. Hope you enjoyed the makeover idea that Tyler had and some of the other stuff we were tossing around. I'm kind of really digging that whole idea of Chronicles of Crimson Canyon. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
Because you were, what were you calling it?
Keep calling it Crimson Ridge. I'm like, no, even though I'm like, no, it's Crimson Canyon. Like, I can't keep up with my own fucking idea.
Yeah, but Crimson Ridge sounds pretty badass.
It does.
Yeah.
You know,
but I get what you're going with. But you can change.
I'm big on alliteration with my stories and dialogue and titles. Like I just had this affinity for.
Yeah.
I want alliteration. It doesn't always have to be that way, but I find it fun and challenging to come up with, you know, alliteration for, you know, certain moments or titles and things like that.
That's why you're the idea guy and I'm the buttons guy.
You're the tech guy.
I'm the tech guy. But yes, make sure you like this episode. Leave us a comment down below. And if you're new here and you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And until later, let the power return.
How do I get out of this chicken shit outfit? You secure that shit, Hudson.
Oh, that's Aliens.
Hey, you got it on the first one there.
Well, I think Hudson really tipped me off.
I would hope so. I was going to take another Hudson.
If it didn't, we'd have a big problem here.
Yeah. It'd be game over for Nathan. Game over. You're like, is that Casey Jones in the first Turtles movie?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was kind of getting in the mood to sit down and just watch all 4 of them again. I would watch Resurrection again.
Fuck that movie.
I know.
The rest of my life, never see that piece of shit.
I know it sucks, but I think I would sit down and watch it. I mean, you know me. We were having our discussions earlier because that you were texting me about that new Street Fighter trailer.
Oh.
And I watched it. I was like, yeah, this sucks. But I do appreciate them using moves from the game. I'm like, all right, that's a plus there. But everything else, it does seem, it really reeks of you. You remember this? I think it was like mid 2000s when Dead or Alive got that direct to DVD.
Oh movie. Yeah,
it felt like that. But whatever. It makes the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer look like Casablanca, you know?
Man, that movie's fucking dog shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I mean, for fans of that, like if you're going out and checking that stuff out, I hope you enjoy
Enjoy
it.
wasting your fucking money and time.
I hope it's what you want it to be. And I told Tyler, I'm like, yeah, I'll probably watch both of them at some point when they're on streaming.
Nathan's had several drinks, and I'll have 18 messages when I wake up the next day. Oh my god,
and,
it's so fucking bad.
And that's probably what it's going to take. Speaking of, real quick too, Street Fighter, I don't have them in here. They're out there still in the box, but got E Honda and Balrog again from Jada Toys.
Oh, so how's Balrog look?
I haven't opened the box yet to even look at it. So yeah, gotta unbox them, put them on the shelf, and so I think all that's left now is Zangief and T-Hawk, and then the line's done. I believe
I'd collect them if I had the room to put them. I've only got Fei Long and Ryu, and I barely have room for those two because I need a Balrog, I need a Sagat, I need a Vega.
I still think you should get them, even if you don't have space for them. Just get them so you got them. You know.
Yeah, but I don't want to just pile up shit. You know, and
come on, do it.
I'd have to box up more stuff to make room for those.
Then do that.
And I don't have any of my Mortal Kombat stuff on display either because I had to box all. I don't have the room.
Sad state of affairs.
I mean, my priority is spending the money on the Kevin's art room.
Yeah, I got to make sure we make all these ideas come to fruition.
Yeah, it's been, like I said, it's a drug to me, man. I spend all my money on commissions and paying for inks and colors, and I'm like, man, I wanted to like ink and color some of the other stuff he's done for me before. Mm-hmm. Like it's not cheap. But it's worth it, man. Like, oh my god, this looks so fucking good. Like the one he's doing for me right now, like the colors are so vibrant, and it just look it pops so fucking good. And once he finishes the background, yeah, I don't have a story behind it. I mean, I have an idea, but I don't have any story behind it because it's just like I want to see this visual. Like, oh my god, like the villains in this piece are. I just thought like, man, one of these characters, like no one draws this particular character the way he does it. Mm-hmm. He draws one of my absolute favorite evil warriors better than anyone else has ever done.
It's a good little tease to leave us on. Eventually, we'll show. Well,
yeah, he'll have it done this week, and I'll send it to Nathan, and Nathan will get the first glimpse of like what this one, and it's based off our Point Dread discussion we had a while back.
Okay, and then we'll do that, and then share that image with you guys at some point. But we're gonna go ahead. Get out of here. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for your time.
Now what the hell is this shit? What do you gotta do to get comics around this place? One side, Red. Hey, what the hell's going on here?
I was warned about you. Take it easy before I have you removed from the
Warned? What the fuck are you talking about?
Tell him, Steve Dave.
Fuck you, fanboy. You